Hello, welcome to No Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing post-ban Hogaak Vine, and we are running up in a modern league. This is match 3, we're currently 2-0, so we'll see how we get on here. This opening hand... it's certainly not bad. We definitely want to find a second land, but I think we are on the draw here. And we've got Faithless Looting, so I think we're okay to keep this. In terms of Faithless Looting, we can either pitch the Golgari Thug and the Bloodghast, or double Bloodghast. There's an island which doesn't tell us much. There's a Venge Vine. We're not very close to double casting a creature at the moment, but I guess we'll see what we get off the Faithless Looting and evaluate from there whether we want to be binning the Venge Vine. Okay, so Wayfinder and a land, so that's obviously pretty good. We're kind of far off getting Venge Vine into play, but at the same time, it feels like the best value is to ditch the Venge Vine, possibly the Thug. I definitely want to pitch the Venge Vine, I think, just because it's not particularly useful in our hand, and it's either Bloodghast or Thug, but I don't know what's best. I think Thug. I think we're going to try and get some dredge going. We do have this Lightning Axe as another way to pitch cards. So maybe we should have gone for the Bloodghast and just got 2 Bloodghasts into hand. But we'll see. Okay, so Dredge Golgari Thug finds another Venge Vine. We also have a Gravecrawler in the graveyard, so if our opponent doesn't have an answer, we can just carry and feed it into Gravecrawler, which seems very good. So we'll see how we get on. It probably does want to counter this if they can. Yeah, okay. So Mana Leak stops that, unfortunately. We'll just pass the turn. Narset. So we're drawing the opponent a card. Path to Exile revealed. Okay. That's something to be aware of. Okay, but we got another Karen Feeder, which is good. That's possibly the best thing that we could have hoped for. So Karen Feeder into Gravecrawler, just as we tried to do last turn. Seems like the play. Get 2 Venge Vines back, we can kill Narset. And also hit our opponent. So always yes. Always yield. So kill Narset, hit our opponent for 4. And I think that's it for our turn. We could pump up the feeder, but that doesn't really do anything. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to do here. Might be ending up playing the Satyr Wayfinder next turn, just to put some extra cards on the board. Timely. Time is interesting. I suppose we could sack... I suppose we'd have to sack all of our dudes. And we can't hurt ourselves in any meaningful way, so I guess we're just going to have to put up with Timely. But our life totals were actually quite close. But I don't think that's too much of a problem. Obviously we know that our opponent has Path, but we've got the Carrion Feeder that helps us out in that situation. So there's a Faithless Looting. So we can Faithless Looting, pitch our 2 Bloodghasts, hopefully find a land, and then we can maybe cast another card or do something else. So I think that's the play. Yep, so we've got 2 lands. Let's put the Bloodghasts into the bin. And I guess we just yeah, actually let's play fetch land, because then we can sack it to these Bloodghasts to the carrion feeder, and then get them back. So let's get in. I think our opponent's going to try and path something. Although I suppose they're not forced into doing that. Okay, so sack the Gravecrawler. I don't think path the carrion feeder, which makes sense. It is kind of an awkward card for them. I don't think there's anything meaningful we can do about that. I suppose that does kill off the Gravecrawler, at least for now. So not a bad play for our opponent. Is there anything else we want to do here? I don't think it's going to. There's anything meaningful we can do. And we might as well get the land, I suppose. Yeah, sure. Okay. And let's play this Wayfinder as well. Let's see what we hit. Another gemstone or a blood crypt. I think we've got our colours, so we might as well get blood crypt, I guess. And then we put Hogaak into the graveyard, which we can cast. 2, 3. There we go. I mean, I suppose we probably should have exiled the lands, but I think that's fine. So we're still in a pretty good position here, I think. I probably could wipe our board, but we get our Bloodghasts back. Jace, it seems unlikely it's going to help hugely. Going to use their path, so we don't know what their cards in hand are, but they've only got 4 cards and we've got quite considerable board presence. They just played an island, which obviously seems pretty good for us. So we can do various things. We can just kill this soldier, just to get it out of the way. How many bodies do we want to send and where to, I think is really the question. Although we can also Faithless Looting to start things off. I think I quite like axing the soldier just to get out of the way. And then we can attack. I suppose we could Faithless Looting beforehand. And we can dredge up the Thug. And pitch a Thug and land back to the graveyard. And then have we played a creature this turn? So we can play the Neonate and maybe get one of these Vengevines back. We haven't played a creature this turn, have we? No, we've Lightning Axed and we've Faithless Looting. I think just attack for now. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We got 20 damage, so I suppose we might as well kill Jace. Let's send some extra damage at Jace, I guess, and send the big boys at our opponent. I suppose we could have continued on, but yeah, we'll just leave it at that, I think, for the turn. There is more that we could have done, potentially. There's a Terminus. So that's interesting. I assume that's what our opponent's going for. Yeah, I guess we haven't done much to do with that. But I think that's fine. Keeping the Neonate at hand, we can Neonate plus Thug to get back Vengevine. And I guess we dredge this as well. Okay, so I mean, I suppose opponent might have counter magic, but we shall see. I guess we leave with a more expensive card. See if our opponent has a counter or something of that nature. And then let's try and Neonate. Well, actually, Vengevine triggers anyway, doesn't it? So that is fine. So we can either cast Hogaak or we can attack with Vengevine. Given that we don't have lethal, I think just casting Hogaak seems probably better. Oh, we can do. No, we can't do both. We have to tap 2 black/green creatures. So counter draw on the cast of Hogaak. Nothing we can do about that. I'm going to keep this land in hand because potentially we might want a Faithless Looting. Just a fairy. Fairy draw. Interesting. So we've got lethal technically on board. Another Faithless Looting. I guess we loot because we can potentially find a way to recast all these grave crawlers. So I think maybe lead with looting. Yeah, so there's a zombie, so we can pitch Thug and Gari. Catch Stitch the Supplier. We can get back Bloodghast as well. So yeah, we're gonna have a pretty silly turn this turn. We don't really. Yeah, I suppose we might as well pay 2. And we can get like our grave crawlers. So I'm summoning 6 guys to recast Hogaak. And yeah, we have a lethal attack here, but I mean that seems like the best thing to do, just to attack our opponent and not really worry about Teferi. Okay, but if they get a path pre-combat, then I suppose we will punch at Teferi. Don't actually be able to kill Teferi here. 2, 3. Does that make sense? I mean, I suppose it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. Though I guess it might. Our board state's pretty good. Obviously, the issue is if our opponent terminuses, then that obviously is pretty bad for us. At this stage, so no terminus, thankfully. I suppose they could still hardcast terminus. I think we're in good position, but obviously there is potential for things to go wrong. Narset is good for us. I don't think we care too much about that. Using Narset and path. And yeah, everyone concedes. Okay, so yep, managed to get ourselves into a good position there and managed to pick up the win. Overwhelming board presence picked us out, so inevitably they will be bringing in hate cards. I imagine Rest in Peace. They might also run ley lines, but I don't know how common that is. So yeah, I think Assassin's Trophy, Force of Vigor, I guess, and I suppose we want the Thought Seizers as well, given that they're not going to really be pressuring our life total very often. Lightning Axe doesn't seem particularly good, but there are some cards that they might play that we might want to kill. Monetary Mentor seems to be a card that seems to be seeing more play, but yeah, I think we can safely cut a couple of those. And bring this Nature's Claim as well. I mean, that's the main concern really, is that they're going to bring in a bunch of hate cards. Claim to Fame can go. Dark Blast isn't going to do a whole lot for us. And then it's kind of tricky. I suppose we can cut the third Lightning Axe. I like having one answer, but I suppose we don't really need it. We've got like Assassin's Trophy. This is a risk cutting all our removal. Maybe cut a Thug. And a Wayfinder maybe? I think I prefer cutting the expensive spells. I don't think they're likely to run... I doubt they run Chalice. I suppose that could be a potential issue, but I don't think they're likely to run that. Let's cut another Thug, and then I think we're happy with this. I think you're learning the deck as we go along. I'm not too confident on sideboarding with this deck, but I think generally you want to just keep the main body pretty much the same. You don't want to change too much with the main body. Obviously cutting down on any of your 1-drops makes it much harder to get Vengevine into play and Hogaak. So all the 1-drops are pretty important. Lightning Axe is probably the most cuttable card. You can potentially cut on Neonates as well. They're not as essential as the black and green creatures, just because Hogaak can't be cast off of it. Now that Bridge isn't around, it's not quite the card it was. But it's still a creature, so it's handy for getting your Vengevines into play. Okay. This hand isn't terribly exciting, but it does have Thoughtseize and some stuff to do, and if our opponent does have a hate card, we are not completely overwhelmed. Like, we can Thoughtseize them on turn 1. Maybe we should have ran the fetch out. Let's lead with Thoughtseize. And yep, that hits Rest in Peace nicely. Opponent doesn't actually have anything else in hand but Jace. So that's pretty good for us. He's going to have a bit of time. But yeah, this Lightning Axe probably isn't going to have a whole lot of targets. So second Flooded Strand comes down for our opponent. Right, so here we've got a few options. We can have a Grave Crawler. I suppose Lightning Axe isn't really great in this position. I think probably the best thing to do is Wayfinder. That's more likely to find us something of exciting. So let's blood crit. Play the Wayfinder. Let's see what we get to put in our graveyard. So we get to put in Venge Vine and a Faithless Looting in terms of relevant cards. So not the most exciting, but the Faithless Looting could well come in handy, as it means we can ditch this Golgari Thug, we can ditch the Blood Gas, get that back. Field of Ruin, I don't think does awful things to us. We only have one basic in the deck, so I suppose we do need to be conscious of that. Could cut us on red, actually, currently. But obviously that's a card they drew, so I think that bodes well for us. I'm guessing we're seeing Field of Ruin here. Fortunately it's on the Overgrown Tomb. Otherwise I might have considered lightning axing our own guy, but yeah, that's fine. Okay, so if we cast a Gravecrawler and a Bloodghast here, then we can get back Venge Vine and we can start swinging in, so that seems like the best play. We could go through a Faithless Looting, but I think that's probably significantly worse. So, yeah, Gravecrawler, Bloodghast, return Venge Vine. There's always the risk that they top deck a Terminus, which is certainly a thing that would be problematic. But we've got them down to 13 here. And if they just played Jace here, I think that seems pretty good for us. I mean, I guess they could set up a Terminus for next turn. I suppose that's the other side of that coin. Oh, but yep, no, looks like they obviously didn't get there. And we win. We had a Faithless Looting coming up next, and then a Stitches Supplier and a Venge Vine. So that would have been a pretty sweet turn as well, actually. Even if they managed to wipe our board, we could have rebuilt fairly quickly with that hand. So, yep, that all went really well, I think. I played Blue White before as well, and we seem to do pretty well there as well. Seems they certainly have tools that can make our life difficult, but fortunately we had Thoughtseize to catch the early Rest in Peace, and from there this ended up being a fairly easy win. And yeah, just running out Planeswalkers against our high-speed aggro deck, it doesn't seem to work too well. Although to put up a better fight in game one than I expected, for sure.